Welcome to the Drama Mama.
Welcome.
I'm Angela.
Oh, I'm Kristen.
I'm Kathy. I just figured we'd go like whatever.
Yeah.
And
today-
you are
Janiyah McAllister.
Yay!
So excited you're here. Thank you
Yeah.
for coming on.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I've ever since I heard about the podcast, I've wanted to be on it forever.
Really?
Yes, I'm always watching and I'm just like, I wish that was me.
Oh, it is.
But-
It's you.
Well, here you go.
Yeah, you're way beyond the Drama Mama podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah,
We're
we're
not
gonna.
really worthy.
No.
We are
Yeah.
not worthy. And
guys
this is
are
not.
You're the celebrity here.
Yeah, you are. And this is not your. This may be your first time, but hopefully it won't be your last
Yes.
time.
Oh,
We
no,
wanna
better
keep
not be.
Updating with you.
Yay,
You know?
I would love that.
Maybe we'll catch you in New York or something.
Yeah.
Who
Hello.
yeah.
Hello.
You got a
Alright,
big
cool.
year coming up.
Yes.
So I was looking back at some of your Facebook posts that you did 20 auditions for musical theater programs.
Yes.
That had to be a little
At 20
bit.
different schools?
Yes.
Woo.
Yes.
That's a lot.
It was a lot. I'm still kind of new to musical theater, especially more than like my peers who have been in it since they were like children. And so I wasn't really sure what colleges to apply for, which ones would be a best fit for me. And also there was just this looming fear in the back of my head that like, I'm not going to get into any colleges and things like that. And so I just applied to as many as I can. I said, Mom, I have to have options. I have to have multiple backups.
Yes.
And so some I applied to in person, some I did virtually. I also did like the combined auditions in Tampa. They were actually at the Straz as well.
Nice.
And so, yes, I tried to give myself as many options as I could. So 20, I guess, is my lucky number this year. And I had a pretty good turnout. So I ended up getting into 18 out of the 20 that I applied
Holy
for.
crap.
Oh,
Nice.
And so I was pleased
That's
with that
gotta
result.
feel very
So-
validating.
Let me just tell you, we had two individuals that have businesses that help kids kind of go through the process, right? Because it can be very daunting and overwhelming.
Yes.
The information that we received for them, that it was like a 0.75% chance, not even a 1%
Yes.
that you get accepted.
to one
And you
school.
got 18.
So look at that. Yes, that is something to hold your head high about.
So nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What's the loser school that didn't take you? Who's kicking themselves
I-
right now? Like, darn it.
I got rejected from Yale and CCM.
Okay.
And those were my two, but
CCN is at Cincinnati?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
gotcha.
and I ended up I'm on the wait list for Carnegie, but I committed to Baldwin Wallace. And yeah, so those are my results.
Which I was looking, it's at one of the high reach schools. Like,
Yes.
Is it? Where
They
is
only-
Baldwin
High
Wallace?
reach is what they call it.
Baldwin is in Ohio, Berea,
Okay.
Ohio. It was a very random place for my family, and they were like, Ohio, interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting for me too. I've never really been up north besides being in New York, so it's definitely going to be a change for me. We've been
Yeah.
talking about the huge weather shift.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
going to be like this really anymore in the winters. So
And Ohio's kind of on that edge of maybe like a Midwestern, but not quite, right? They kind of
Yes.
ride that line,
yes,
so it'll be different for you.
It's going to be interesting,
Yeah.
but I have a few
Yeah.
friends up there. I've been meeting
Good.
people, making connections, so that when I go up there, I'm not just like, I don't know what to do. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a pretty good community up there already for me. So I'm
Nice.
excited.
Is it a big school or is it a small school?
No, it's a small school, pretty small campus.
Okay.
There's only about 2,500 kids.
Wow,
The campus
okay.
is very small.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's in a small town.
All right.
And it's not too far from Cleveland. So that's
Okay.
where my friends say that they go to have fun every once in a while. So,
yeah, it's going to Cleveland. And you got the airport right there.
yeah, so you kind of get the
Really
best of
good.
both worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Small
you-
towns are nice.
You're
Yeah.
just going to shine like crazy out
Oh,
there.
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh.
Have you
Yeah.
met, I saw there's about 21 in your class. So Have
Yes.
you met any of them?
Yes. Well, I haven't been able to meet any of them in person. Some of them I saw at auditions before I knew we were going to the same school. But we have actually a group chat with all of us. And every now and then we FaceTime. So it'll be like 20 of us on a FaceTime. It's one of the most chaotic things ever, but it's fun.
Especially a bunch of theater kids who are like, look at me.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Good.
And so we're all like always trying to like see what each other is doing. We actually have, I think, 2 kids in my class are actually going to the Jimmies.
Oh, wow.
So we were
Nice.
talking about that experience with them, and it's been really fun. They all seem like really great people, and I'm really excited.
Yeah.
I'm really
Yeah.
excited.
That's so nice
Yeah.
having that little group already going into college.
Yes.
That's,
Yeah.
you know, an intimidating thing
Oh,
to do.
Yeah, it's the
Very
scariest
much
part.
And to already
so.
have
Go
your,
off
your
and
group and
not
that's
have
great.
anybody that you know.
No.
Yeah.
So you have a roommate?
I don't have my roommate yet. I'm
Okay.
still getting into like the housing thing because I committed late because of like the Carnegie
for everything
waitlist.
else.
Yes. And so I'm still getting my like housing situated, but all of my like other stuff is like, I guess you could say situated as well,
Yeah.
but I'm still finding my roommate. But
Okay, cool.
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if they put you with other musical theater people or
Yes.
if they like spread you out and you have like
Yes.
a math major as your roommate.
Right.
I mean, you know.
Most of my
you know.
classmates, they're paired with one another.
Okay.
So I'm seeing if someone else in my class hasn't been paired up with yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't have any preference. I
Yeah.
mean, if you're a
you'll be fine.
mathematician, computer science, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
So.
it might be
better
fun.
because
Yes.
you won't spend quite as much time together.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
a break
yeah.
from-
Well, maybe you'll luck out and get like a single as a freshman.
oh.
That's like unheard of.
It is pretty
Right.
unheard
Yes.
of.
dream.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
can only wish. We
Yes.
can only-
Yeah.
We'll
hope.
send that one out in the universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what your first year like classes will be like?
Yes. So I tried to kind of rack up on dual enrollment classes in my senior year. So I'd taken 6. I'm taking 3 this summer. I took 3 during the school year. And so just so I could kind of ease the load for myself as I go into it because again, I still don't know what to expect because I'm double majoring. I'm
Okay.
doing musical theater and journalism
Okay.
just to
Nice.
have a backup. Yes. So I've
Yeah.
always loved
Good
writing
for her.
and just so
That's awesome.
yes.
know.
And so I've tried to do multiple classes and so I just have most of my core curriculum classes covered and now I'm going into music theory, piano, things like that, dance. I have to get leveled in first to see which like dance level classes I'm going into, but most of those are just going to be my art focused intensive classes for the first year.
Excellent.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, I think it's safe to say you have worked your ass off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I
she's not done.
No.
I know. I
No,
still
but I mean,
have
like, through
some
high
work to
school.
do. Yes, but it's gonna be worth it.
Yeah,
It's
it
gonna work out in the end. So
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely. Doing what you love.
yes,
So it sounds like you didn't start really musical theater until middle school.
I didn't. Yes, my first show was Lion King Jr. And I only did that show because my family loves Lion King movie. Like it's a family like we just love it.
Yeah.
And so they were like, oh, well, we don't really know what this is, but if you like it and it seems like
Yeah.
fun, then do it. My family's always been the
And
type
where did
that
you
like
do that at?
at Davenport School of the Arts.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, and they've always been the types to just say if it seems like something that you want to do,
Yeah.
do it, try it out, and you know. And so I did, and I ended up being Rafiki in my first show.
Nice.
I totally see that.
Yeah.
It was
What a
so
fun role.
fun. Yes, it was the most fun thing ever. And the next year, we did Mary Poppins
Oh my
actually.
gosh.
Oh, gosh.
That's
Nice.
And so I was Mary Poppins in 8th grade,
Oh,
and
you were.
that's when I was like, this is pretty cool. Like I love singing. I was in chorus. We had majors and mini majors in middle school, and my major was chorus. I love singing. I was a student conductor, and so singing was just my forte.
Yeah.
So acting I was still getting used to, but then I was like, this is something that I want to do. I want to be good at this. And then so that's when I applied to Harrison.
Okay, gotcha.
And I applied for chorus and musical theater, got into both, ended up choosing musical theater because I said, I'm going to take a different path. And it's been a history since.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's just proof, like what your family was like. Okay, go try it. That you never know what you're good at until you give yourself a
Right.
chance to try it. So
Right.
putting your kids in all kinds of different things, you just
Yeah.
never know what's going to
Yes,
stick.
and especially like I have always like withheld this huge sense of like I've always been scared of rejection, and I've always been like the honor roll kid, gifted kid. You know, I want to get straight A's. I want to be good. I want to be the best. I want to be perfect.
Yeah.
And you know, they've just been the types that's like you do the best that you can do, and we are satisfied with that, and that will get you to where you need to go. And I feel like that is the only reason why I'm here today and with all the accomplishments I've gotten so far, because if they hadn't pushed me, I would have let my fear of rejection take over everything, and I would have probably not even applied for Harrison. So
Yeah.
Wow.
So that family support is huge
Yes,
for you.
it's
Yeah.
An
very
overriding
huge.
theme. Every time we interview
Yes.
somebody, it goes back to their parents.
Yes.
Being
Yes.
that
Yeah.
support system for them and encouraging.
Well, it's hard to be successful without that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're
You
working
know, without your mom being
uphill.
willing to drive you to every
Right.
rehearsal, or
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
your
'cause-
dad being there to help, you know, lug shit around or whatever it is that
Yes.
they're doing. You know, yeah.
Yeah, it's so true.
So it's like an hour drive for you to school?
Yes. When I first started at
I'm gonna
Harrison,
step out and get our drinks.
I was living all the way in Kissimmee. So I would wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. Bus would come at 4:30. And for
the
rehearsals,
bus would come all the way out there?
yes.
What?
Yes. The bus would
Dang,
come at
okay.
4:30. And we had to do like this bus transfer thing.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the bus would come to Kissimmee. Then we would go to like Daniel Jenkins in
Okay.
Haines City. And then another bus would take us to school. We would get to school at about 6:30.
Wow.
And it was a lot, but it ended up being worth it.
Thank
I
you.
was we did Newsies my freshman year
Oh,
before
that was such a
COVID,
good
yes,
show.
and I was a swing for that show. So Harrison has like the shuttle buses, and so I would take the shuttle bus home, would get
Yeah.
home at about 6:30, 7 o'clock. And it was a lot for like me being a freshman my first year there. It was a lot, but I think it built me to like the things that I needed to learn how to do, how to maintain myself, be organized and things like that.
Yeah.
Time
But
management.
yes, it was a lot, but I just started driving my senior year to school, so that lightened the load a lot.
Good.
That's when we moved up here, and so it made it a lot easier for myself, for my mom, and things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
It's a big
Gotcha.
commitment.
Yes.
So with chorus, what was your training? Were you just training in school, or did you have a voice coach at that point when you were like middle school?
I was actually just training at school. It was very interesting. Actually, coming to Harrison was a little bit of a culture shock for me because I wasn't quite used to like private instruction, things like that. Like my first ever, I hadn't heard of a vocal coach until I had got to Harrison. Most of my chorus education took place at school. I mean, I watch YouTube. I watch YouTube a lot about everything. I love music theory videos. To
Plenty
this
to
day.
learn on there.
Yes.
Yeah, seriously.
But
Yeah.
that's where I just learned. That's where my experience came from. It's just doing it and performing chorus. We had like all-state, FMEA, those type of things. And I got to do those experiences, but that's pretty much where it got started. My chorus teacher would help me out every now and then. I would ask to stay after school. She would help me practice some songs for solo and ensemble. But that's pretty much the extent that like my vocal coaching had started off to. And then when I got to Harrison, I got Jordan Jones.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, yes,
Queen.
literally.
Yes.
And so that's when it like kicked off. And
yeah, you hit
I-
the lotto with that one.
yes, absolutely. And so I've loved it ever since.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we know she loves you.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
so
she's
proud
the
of you.
best.
She's like
Yeah.
your biggest supporter, you know.
She
I mean,
is.
obviously aside from your parents and your family and stuff, but Jordan is just,
Yes.
oh my gosh, she
She's my rock.
breathes everything that you're doing, you know.
Yes.
So it's good.
She's a good teacher
Oh yeah, she loves her students.
and life coach.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you do any dancing or acting outside of school, or are you mostly just from what you've learned in Harrison?
Just basically what I learned in Harrison. I started my first actual like dance class was at Harrison with Miss Renfro, all those that I've been taking the past 4 years. I've never been enrolled in school, like after school activities, things like that. So that's where all of my experience basically came from. It's just
Yeah.
school itself, and
Yeah.
it's been
Who's got
interesting.
time though? I mean, between your
Yes.
academics
Yeah.
and
And are you
then
on the track team as well?
Yes, I was on the track team. I had to put the track team aside this year because of like ever since the Jimmys happened and things started blowing up, I had to set that aside. But I didn't completely cut ties. I was the social media manager for my school. I managed the team and stuff like that.
Nice.
So I still wanted to keep my involvement, and it was nice. My coach was very understanding of where I wanted to go and like things that I wanted to do. So he still allowed me to keep my involvement with the team. So I appreciated him for that too. So
yeah, that's really nice.
yes,
That's good. And I'm sure you're great. Like he's getting something out of it too.
yes,
And your social media. Oh, and that's a great skill to have
yes.
moving forward,
Well, it
wanting
ties
to
in well
do.
with the journalism.
Yes,
yes,
yes.
That's been something that I've been into ever since I'd say sophomore year. Because during the pandemic, of course, like everyone exploring new interests, trying new things.
Yeah, why
And
not?
that right, and so that's when I got my first internship doing social media, digital design, graphic design for a local hair salon in Winter Haven. And that internship lasted me my whole sophomore year. And then that's when I went into school junior year back in person. And that's where I started really diving into things, designing, getting into social media, looking at marketing. I almost went to school for marketing, but I love writing and I wanted to look more into that side of things.
Yeah.
So that's why
That's a big part of marketing, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Knowing what to write, how to write it,
Right. Yes.
how to use SEO and all of that in marketing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's got that. So there's no reason why you couldn't kind of migrate through that
Mhm.
in the future.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
I would think, right? Kind of tie it together.
Well, your love of writing makes sense. How you were able to write about Mr. Snagaki and have him
Yes.
nominated for.
Oh, I know.
What's the title? Is it acting?
Inspiring Teacher
Yeah.
Award. Yes.
What about him inspired you?
Everything. Like, I remember my freshman year. He's the type of person where at first you meet him and you're not quite sure what to expect, but he's like a teddy bear. Like he's so sweet. He cares about what he's teaching, and that really shows through the work that he does with us and how often he's always so open to us, asking questions, during his planning period. He'll always give us like tips on acting, always willing to give us critiques. We have juries every semester. He's always like, whenever you have time, you can come in as a group and we can, go through that, review your jury, review your performance critiques. And he's just always wanting to build us up as performers and as people as well. There are always, life lessons that he ties into his acting lessons. And I feel like that's extremely important, especially as high schoolers growing up into adults. You need to hear those things and just constant reminders that we're human beings in addition to being performers before we're performers. And he always reminds us of that we're still children, we're still young adults learning and growing, and that's important to keep in mind.
Yeah, I do. I love that theme that they're not just trying to make you better performers, but they really are trying to make you better people.
Yes.
Like send you out into the world as good people who are very talented.
Yes, right? And how to focus that and what to do with all of that talent.
Yes.
And how to use it for good and not evil. So I don't even know if that's possible, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to hear about the Jimmys.
Yes.
I want to hear about lots of things and your scholarships that you've won and some different things. But so last year you were nominated for Broadway Stars of the Future.
Yes.
You can go back 2 years.
Okay.
You're also nominated quite a bit this year.
Yes.
And you performed, what did you end up performing?
I performed as Esmeralda for Hunchback of Notre Dame, that was just a completely interesting experience because I did not know what Broadway Star of the Future was until December of that year, after Hunchback was over. Mm-hmm. And on my Instagram, I saw Janiyah McAllister and other classmates who were nominated as well. And I texted some of my friends. I said,
like, what
is this?
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I said, what is this? And they were like, you could go to the Jimmy Awards. I was like, what is that? And then I looked it up and I was like, this is big. And that was my first musical that I ever performed in at Harrison because I was home because of COVID the previous year. So I came back, first show, Hunchback. Okay, this is really cool. This is really fun. And then Broadway Star of the Future happened. I was nominated, and Miss Lambert guided us through the whole process. She obviously had experience with it before with Ronnie and his success with that. And so she guided us through it, let us know what we need to do, how we need to prepare. And it was great. It was the best. It was a really good first experience. It was my first time doing it, and it was a huge success. And I love Broadway Star of the Future. It was great the first year. And Hunchback was also just a really good show to be a part of. The whole cast.
Oh my gosh, yes. And Ashton.
Goosebumps.
Yes.
Watching that.
That is definitely.
Ashton, yes.
Yes. That is definitely the most beautiful show I've ever been a part of. And being nominated for Esmeralda in that role was very, very... I took it very personally because the role touched me. I learned so many things from that experience. Not only because it was my first show, but just because the story itself teaches a lot of lessons about humanity and things like that. And so,
yeah.
So once you're nominated, you then, I think there's maybe 30 of you that are nominated, or maybe that's too many.
I think so. About 2 years ago, it was a smaller amount, yes, about 30.
And then you go and you have to audition again?
Yes.
How does that process work?
Yes, so they have this thing called Review Day,
It's flopping
And
down.
I'm always floppy.
It's droopy.
It's my necklace here.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
it's okay.
Technical
I just happened to look over and caught it. Sorry.
They have
Very distracting.
this thing called, they call it review day, and everyone
Someone's not having a good day.
who's nominated for a leading performer role goes to the Straz and auditions for the panel, because they sent out multiple people. It's about a team of 15 to 20 reviewers, I'd say. I'm not exactly sure, but we went out to showcase what the reviewers who didn't come to the show couldn't see. And that's when we sing about a 32-bar cut of our song. And that's when they decide the top 10 performers.
Wow, just from those 32 bars.
Yes, and from what they saw in the show,
Right.
those scores and those reviews as well. So they kind of combined both to see who are our top 10 finalists going to be.
Okay.
And
then you go on.
And did you get like a phone call or like what was that like?
well,
An email? Like,
Miss Lambert is one for surprises. She loves, and so she would take us into class, and she would sit down, give us our announcements for the week, all the information, and then she'd say, okay, so now we have our results for Broadway Star of the Future, and we would all sit down in a circle,
oh, girl.
and she'd
geez.
say, yes, and she said our winners are, and then our top 10 finalists are, and when she said, okay, well, that's what we did during class, but fun fact, I actually found out before everyone else did, because one of my friends who was in college followed the Facebook page, and they posted it on the Facebook group. And I was in class, and he texted me and said, oh my gosh, Janiyah. I was like, what happened? He was like, you could go to the Jimmy's. I was like, what? And then so I found out, and I was just, I was like, ma'am, can I please go to the bathroom? I just like walked the hallway, and I called Mom. I was like, Mom, I don't know what this is, but like this seems pretty big, and I just got nominated for this, and I'm a top 10 finalist. She was like, she wasn't familiar with it either, and so it was really cool hearing about it. And then in my music class with Miss Lambert, she told us all the news, and Ashley and I started crying, and we were hugging each other, and everyone was just so supportive. It was a surreal experience finding out, and it was great.
How was it performing in the Straz? Was that like completely nerve-wracking, or you just like turn it on and do what you need to do?
It was a little bit of both. I'm the type of person where I get nervous beforehand, but during the performance, I'm like completely fine. Like as soon as I step on the stage and I see the audience,
you're like, I'm at home.
Yes, it's that comfort. And the environment was very professional. You know, it's adults, the Straz staff, and Broadway Star of the Future staff. And so, of course, you know, Miss Lambert, Mr. Sangaki, Miss Renfro always train us to maintain that professional, you know, stature and how to behave in environments like that, which we were all already pretty familiar with. And so it was a really fun experience meeting other people from other schools who have been nominated. We had tech that week. We had to put the showcase together in 1 week. And performing, I think, was an absolutely incredible experience, especially in the I don't know if you guys have seen the Ferguson Hall, but the Ferguson Hall is a really, really large theater that it's like mezzanine.
Yeah, we were just there. The box.
Yes.
Cheering on.
Yes.
And
we were.
It's a lot larger audience, of course, than we're used to at Harrison. And so it can be overwhelming, but it was comforting having Ashton there with me personally.
Yeah.
And, you know, having my school in the audience, they were all extremely supportive. They were all there. Everyone from Harrison was there. And it was great. It was a little nerve-wracking just not knowing, like, am I going to the Jimmy's or not? Am I going? But it was great. And lining up, holding hands, and like
waiting for the name.
Yes. It was that was probably the most nerve-wracking thing ever.
Is it 5 girls and 5 boys?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. And that was probably the most, I was probably like shaking. I get this thing when I'm nervous, like my teeth start shattering like in cold water. So I was like, ooh. But it was
Like,
great. But it was great. I loved it. And even this year, like I still got the same nerves. I was like, why am I nervous? I've already experienced this before. But it's just the mystery of it, the suspense. It just
Yeah.
tends to
Because you're
do that.
surrounded by so much talent right there on that stage.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you got to host this year.
Yes, that was so fun.
That was
My
so cool.
favorite part actually of the showcase this year was just reading off the names and just like reading. I loved it so much. I felt like I was at the Tonys and I could use my like announcer voice that I always like practice at home. And it was so fun because like tying into journalism, I always wanted to be like
Yeah.
a newscaster. Like I always wanted to be
Perfect.
like back on Fox 13. So like I got to like do that at Broadway Star the Future on the God
Yeah.
mic and like announce and things like that. I kind of was living the best of both worlds
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so really exciting. I want the audience to realize that the first time you went to the Jimmys, or not, well, yes, to the Jimmys, but to Broadway Star of the Future, you've been twice. You were a junior. So how, were there a lot of other people there that were juniors? Or like, is that a pretty rare thing to get nominated as a young?
I'd say it's
Ah.
somewhat rare,
Yeah.
but I mean, like I've seen the talent is getting like younger and younger. Like
Yeah.
we had a sophomore nominated this year.
Mm,
And so last year, I believe I was one of 2 juniors.
yeah.
And it was really, it made me want to like step up my game. I was like, okay, I'm a junior, I'm a bunch of
Yes.
seniors. I have to be good. I have to be good.
Yes.
And it drove me to just like do the best that I can do legitimately. And there wasn't really a competitive sense. Everyone was very welcoming. We knew like, okay, yes, one of us is going to the Jimmys, but it more felt like we were building a show together rather than, you know, competing
Yeah.
in the show with one another.
Yeah.
And I think being a junior and Ashton being a senior, I got to learn a lot from him in the experience, seeing how he went through the rehearsal process, how he handled everything. And it was a very educational experience for me. I learned a lot as a junior, and then coming back to school the next year and coming back to just like Polk County in general the next year
Yes.
was just like, it was so
We
crazy.
need like a Janiyah McAllister day.
Yeah.
Here's the key to the city.
It was so crazy because I did, like, again, I wasn't familiar. I didn't know how big this stuff got, and
Mhm.
it was pretty big. And so
Yeah.
coming back home was crazy
It was wild, right?
in the best way possible. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, tell us about the Jimmys.
Yeah.
Because
So you got there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know we experienced just going to New York and coming back to Polk County. Like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't even do
I
anything.
can't, right.
Like,
I can
famous.
imagine from your point of view. You
I
got
mean, we tried. Kathy tried.
Oh,
She
hey,
did.
listen,
Tried
you
to pass
know,
us off as famous when we went to the Cat's
Hey.
Deli.
people don't know. I
They've
was
got
like,
all the
oh,
pictures of the
don't
famous
you know?
people with
Oh,
the owner on the walls. And Kathy was like, she grabbed the waiter and she's like, yeah, so you probably don't know this, but we're the drama model, you know.
Yeah,
We
I
just
did.
wanted to see if we could meet the owner and get a picture
Oh my
with him.
gosh.
Mhm.
You could put it on the wall if you wanted.
Oh my gosh.
We're joking. You know, it was lots of fun. We did get to meet the owner, by the way, and
Yeah,
get
we did.
our
And we
pictures
did get our
taken.
picture.
Yeah, they were
It's
very
not
nice.
on the wall, though.
It is
No.
not on the wall.
To be
I
clear.
assume.
It's okay. Yeah, I'm
I
sure
assume
not.
we're
Who
not on the
knows?
wall.
Who knows?
Yeah.
It might be.
Maybe one day they'll be like, hey, I met.
Let's just put it up there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it's all good, but it was fun.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
were you
so
there for about a
years.
week? Is that how long you go?
Yes, I was there for 10 days. We got in, I can't remember what day of the week, but we were there for, yes, about 10 days. We stayed on Juilliard's campus in the
Ooh.
housing at
Wow.
Juilliard. I love Juilliard. I love the atmosphere, the city around it, not to mention the dining hall food.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Absolutely amazing.
Did you apply there?
No, I didn't apply to Juilliard.
Why not?
But they, I don't know. I don't know if it was like the way I was looking at it, but it didn't
Okay.
look like they had a musical theater program.
Maybe they don't.
Yes, I think they
Yeah.
just have like vocal performance, and then
Okay.
like they have their instrumentalists and things like that.
Okay.
And so it wasn't really somewhere where I could see myself studying for 4 years. New
Yeah.
York does seem like a great place, but I also wanted to explore other environments and other
Sure.
areas before
Sure.
I really like leaped into like New York City.
Yeah.
But I love staying there for the Jimmys, and having like roommates, staying in the dorms, being in the city was really fun. And it was a lot of, we had rehearsals all day from about, I'd say 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, sometimes
Wow.
9. We would have our breaks in between, and they treated it like we were equity actors. They guided rehearsals to the actors' equity policies. And so we had our breaks in that order and things like that. And it was really fun. It didn't even feel like a competition. Like, it didn't feel like a competition. It didn't feel like the super intensive, like, showcase rehearsal thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like we were just teenagers doing what we love to do for fun. It felt like summer
Yeah.
camp almost to a certain extent.
Aw.
And it was great. The creative team, of course, like Broadway professionals, Broadway veterans. We would have actors come in every day. We had LaShawns last year, and we had one of the previous winners who was in Dear Evan Hansen. Now he's in another movie with Jennifer Lawrence. I cannot remember his name right now, but it was really fun, and I got to meet a lot of influential people. And
Some
just
connections.
Yes,
Yeah.
and just being able to like meet those people and have those conversations was really like life-changing and has opened a lot of doors. And I think
Nice.
I would, of course, like do it again. But it was it was a really fun experience.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was
I
great.
think Jordan talked a lot about how you came back changed, like, and how could you not have that
Yes.
experience and come back forever altered
Yes.
Yeah.
and
Have
hungry?
all that
Right.
confidence, and some validation about everything you're doing.
Absolutely.
Because it's one thing to be like a little superstar in, Lakeland, Florida, but it's another thing to be put on this comparison of all of these
The best in the nation.
Yes.
Yes.
And this is where you
And you
are,
were
you know?
top 8. You were 8th.
Yes, top 8 actresses.
Mm.
And that, like, again, like you said, validating. I was talking to my auntie the other day about how previously, because again, like, I was still kind of new to things because I hadn't been in class in person for a while. So it was my first year back, and I had a hard time determining, what I'm good at, what I'm not good at. I would base my talent off of course, like my peers, and I
Yeah.
didn't really have an like accurate perception of who I was as an artist and if what I was doing was adequate. And I would base that off of things that were not accurate at all.
Yeah.
And going to the Jammies was a very validating experience for me because it showed me that it's not other people who determine whether you are doing a good job as a performer necessarily. Like, you yourself as an artist have to be satisfied with the work that you're putting out. You're the performer, you're entertaining, and you have to know that you are doing your job with
Yeah.
that. And that was just one of the biggest takeaways I have from the Jammies. I had my performance coach was Janet DeCall from the original Broadway cast of In the Heights. Now she's in New York on Broadway. And she really just taught me the importance of, because performing is very like mental, like it's a lot going on up here. And with that, she showed me that you have to know as the actress what you're doing, who you are, but also as the entertainer what you're showcasing and who you are as that, and what to take away from every performance that you do. And that, I think, was one of the most valuable lessons for sure from the Jimmys. Yeah.
I just want to go back to what you said because I love that. You're the performer no matter what environment you
Yes.
are, and other people may see you in different ways, and to have other people validate you.
Right.
I'm not accurately explaining what I just love what you said. That's really important.
Yeah.
Yes.
That you have to believe it.
Right,
You know?
because
Yes.
sometimes
You
you
are the true
with a
judge.
director or something that doesn't necessarily see you for what you are.
Right.
Yep.
You can't base your worth or your talent on that person
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
you know.
Because the next person might think
Right.
you're the best thing since sliced bread.
Right. And like building
depends.
confidence is so hard in this industry, especially being young, being
Yeah.
a young adult, because there's so many people to compare yourself to. And, if you don't get cast in this role, it's like, oh, I wasn't enough. Or if you
Yeah.
don't book this gig, it's like, what did I do wrong?
Mhm.
But like, one thing I've learned is just that you have to be satisfied, like I said, with what you put out, what you did. And that's why I think that comes from every time I have an audition or a performance somewhere, every time I got in the car, my mom was like, so what did you think? She always asked me what I thought. Not
Yeah.
We do the same thing.
Well,
Yeah, we do
yes.
the same
Oh,
thing.
I
Like-
want to meet your mom.
I
Yes,
I know.
like not
Fantastic.
what did the audience think of you, or like what did the judges' faces do, because
Right.
then that puts you in the mindset of every audition you go into, watch them, and then that takes you out of it again as a performer, and you're not
Yeah.
focused as to where you need to be mentally. And so just having that perception of who you are, of self and self-confidence, I think really helps you move further along. And I think it's the reason why I've been so ambitious in the things that I do, like auditioning for things at the Straz and auditioning for, off-Broadway shows and things like that. Definitely comes from learning that.
And just put yourself out there. You got to be in it to win it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so
Performing at the Jimmy's. We were watching it in North Carolina. We were on vacation.
Oh
and we
my
were streaming it,
gosh.
screaming,
Yep.
jumping up and down. It was
Yep.
so much fun to watch. I can't imagine. What was it like to be in a Broadway theater performing?
It was it was
Yeah.
crazy. Like, I'm literally getting chills thinking about it, because for me it was like a full circle moment, because my first show I did was Lion King Jr. and the theater we performed at was the Minskoff Theater where
Yes.
Lion King
Oh,
on
nice.
Broadway is.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
And so I actually have a picture of me standing next to the Rafiki poster backstage.
Oh.
And I was just living my dream in New York that day. And some of the performers were there because it was their off day. And they were giving us pep talks backstage, you know, talking with us about their experiences on Broadway, what it's like being in that show and being a performer. And it was just so awesome. It was so awesome. I was living in a dream, literally. And just being on the stage and just looking out and seeing all the seats
Huge audience.
was, yes.
Yeah.
And the energy was
It's like a gut check, isn't it?
Yes.
Like, whew.
Yes, it was so exciting. My adrenaline was like rushing like crazy, and just seeing the audience, seeing how many people were there to see young artists perform and do what they love to do, just showed me that like musical theater is important. It's worth going after. It's worth going to college for. It's worth pursuing, and that what you're doing actually matters. And so it was just so substantial. And it was also just such a confidence booster, because like I've made it here because I didn't give up on myself. I didn't let what others think of me, you know, beat me down to the point where I told myself I wasn't good enough and things like that. And yes.
That's hard when, you know, we've heard from multiple guests, like you get a lot of no's before you get a yes.
Yes.
And so having a good self-image
Yes.
and appreciation for you and what you bring to the table
Yes.
is important to get through all of those no's.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
it's gonna
is.
take you far.
Yeah.
And you might
Yes.
get less no's because of it. You know, like when you
Yes.
come in there and you have that.
Well, you have such
Aura.
a presence.
Yes.
When we
Yes.
went to the Broadway Stars last week, was it just last week?
I know.
It feels like
it's a blur.
yes,
ago.
it was last week. It was the day after graduation.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah.
You have such a stage presence. I mean, not only can you sing beautifully, but you just draw people
Yes,
in.
you
Yeah.
just absorb it.
Thank you.
You just absorb it, and
Yeah.
you can't help but focus on you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there'll be like 10 people, and I'm like, oh, well, there's Janiyah. It's not like, where's Janiyah? There's
She's
Janiyah.
there. We got her.
Yeah,
Thank
she's
you.
talking to me. She's singing to me. Clearly, you're not, but you get that feeling. You
Mhm.
know.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely
And
something
I don't think you can teach that.
I was just about to say, I don't know if that's something that has always been there. I grew up singing. My granddad got me into singing in church and things like that. And I'm not sure if that's always been there, but it's definitely something that I've learned to grow into, and having, again, like going back to confidence in who you are, what you present to the audience, and just taking control of the stage, commanding the audience's attention. I'm not sure where that came from, but
I bet your mom could tell us.
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
she probably
you
would be
probably
able
were
to tell
raised.
you.
Probably.
But yes, I love, I don't know, I just love connecting with people. I love telling
Yeah.
stories to audiences. I love like looking at people when I'm singing and things like that.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite
That's
parts
good.
of performing.
Was it weird? I mean, you have said it was weird, but just were people treating you differently when you got back?
Yes.
How was
yes.
that?
It was mostly, it started off on like the internet, my Instagram, Facebook, things like that. And I was like, okay, that's pretty normal, I guess, because more people would know on the internet because, you know, they follow and stuff like that. But then in person, I would start getting approached in public,
Oh, wow.
in stores, and then at school, it was like,
That's wild.
yes.
Yeah.
And because like my friends in other departments, they aren't really familiar with it. So they didn't know like the specifics of things. So all they like knew me as at that point was the girl who performed on Broadway this summer, which I guess like, yes, but it was also
Yeah.
like, it was so crazy. But everyone, they were so like raving about it. It was crazy. I loved it, but I'm also like, I'm not the biggest attention person. Like,
Yeah.
my mom would tell you, like, even for prom, I wasn't really big on, like, fancy dresses or things like that. She's the one that has to get me into, like, the big, extravagant
Like,
fun
come on,
stuff.
let's go shopping.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so I was a little like, I don't know how to react to this. I don't know how to handle it. And yeah, it was really weird, but it was fun. I loved like playing with my friends and like joking about it and stuff. And we have like nicknames and stuff. And we have so many inside jokes, but it was great. It was fun.
Well, I think it's probably just a little taste up to what your future is going to be.
Yes, it was so shocking to see the people who noticed. Like, I got to I got invited to do multiple events, like multiple places, and it's gotten to the point where I don't as often have to reach out to people looking for opportunities, that they want me to perform at their events, and that they're looking at me for my schedule and my availability to see if I could, like, you know, cater to them. And it's like, wow, like, okay. And just like, you know, not even technically being a complete adult yet, it's kind of like, you know, age kind of doesn't matter here. It's just like what you bring and what you show people, and they will see that and take away from that and say, okay, I want her, and things like that. And it's been super great. I got to work with the mayor of Lakeland. I got to work with so many cool people. And
have you thought about needing to get like a manager or an agent yet? Is that something you're thinking about?
Yes, it's also kind of like a looming joke in the family.
Oh,
like,
gosh.
Who in the family is my manager?
Oh, yeah,
my
your
agent.
momager.
Momager, clearly.
Yes. And so, but the funny thing is, I like to take control over like my stuff and like the things I schedule. Also, just because like I try to take the load off of my mom a lot. And so even though she's like, Janiyah, I'll like do this, I'll do whatever you need to do. But it's like, but you know, you also have to try to get into the pattern of managing things yourself, especially with me about to go off to college. So I try to like keep my own schedule. Like I bring my iPad with me everywhere. It has like everything on it. And that's been an interesting part of it as well. I'm still learning. I still don't wake up on time sometimes. I still I still snooze, but like I'm still getting used to, you know, becoming responsible for myself as an artist and getting into that. But I don't have any management as of now or any agents, but it's been something I've been looking into.
Yeah.
But
so we just Hannah Kivit, did I say that right?
Kedit.
So she went to college. She just graduated from Elon, and now she is going to Back to the Future. She's probably there now.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah,
I actually saw a picture with the cast.
She had her graduation and like the next day almost.
Yeah. And so she didn't have a manager or anything like that, and she was going to New York and doing auditions and all this stuff. But for her school, and I'm sure hopefully your school will do the same, and you may already be able to answer this question, but their senior year, they had like actually, didn't she kind of make it seem like perhaps through the time there that they were,
I think
had like a shadower or somebody there that was helping her?
I think that the teachers help a lot with that, but I think she was saying too, like they have like an event at the end of their senior year in college, and they bring in people that then
managers and agents and things.
And you can perform and they're there in the audience. And then they recruit you maybe.
And it was great timing for her because she was already going through this long audition process for Back to the Future. So hopefully for you, you know, you'll have that same thing, and you'll be able to be like, okay, now I can help. Because I mean, I don't think you definitely need one, because we've had guests on the show that like, oh, I don't really need one, but it can be helpful. It may not. We had someone say it's not going to get you the part, but it might get you in the door for the audition.
Absolutely.
So
yes, Baldwin, that's one of the things that drew me to Baldwin is how personal the faculty was with me. They showcased the opportunities that they would have for me, and one of those was the showcase that multiple agents, it's in New York that they have theirs, that multiple agents, managers come to see, you know, who are they going to put in their next show, who are they going to start getting jobs for. And so that's one of the things that really drew me in and showed me like there are opportunities out there.
There are.
And
was there ever a point, you know, as you were thinking about what are you going to do with your future, was there ever a point where you were like, I'm not doing college, I'm going to go straight to Broadway? Ever like even a little part of you want to do that?
There was definitely a little bit. It came in during my late junior year, early senior year.
Like after the Jimmys?
Yes. And because
that would be natural.
And I was like,
nah,
this is like,
stay up here, Mom.
right. And I was like, this is kind of crazy. Like, there are so many things to do out here and so many places to go. But then there's also that part of me that always needs a backup plan.
Okay, yeah.
And I just I never want to like do anything without having something to fall back on, or, you know, hence why I applied for like 20 colleges.
Right.
And am double majoring. And so
Yeah.
I did for a little bit, was like, what if I just like leave and start auditioning now? But then that voice in the back of my head was like, Janiyah, are you sure this is safe? And then I was like, I don't
make a
know.
rash decision.
Yes.
Don't make an emotional decision.
Yes, it's a huge risk.
Are there not like colleges that go to the Jimmies and then sort of recruit the people who are there, who've made it that far, and then say, hey,
Yeah,
you're at
we
the
want you.
Jimmies, I want you to come consider my college?
They do, yes.
They do?
Yes, and
Did you have that experience?
yes.
Okay. Well, sure.
Yes. The Jimmy's open like opportunities for a lot of things. Like I got asked to audition for High School Musical, the series.
Oh my
The
God.
season
Holy
that.
shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so did we do that? Did we
Just
do that?
casually
We
drops
did.
that.
Yeah.
We did. And
It's
then
not a big deal.
No.
we did. I did do that, and then I found out that I got Mary Poppins at my high school, and then it was because if I accepted the opportunity to be a part of the show, I would have had to go to I don't know, Albuquerque.
Oh,
For-
where they film?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
for I believe it was about 4 months.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
that
Oh,
sounds
and then
right.
I would be
It's
my
a TV
like,
show, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then I would be like half of my senior year,
Mhm.
and so talking about that with
Wow.
my family and things like that, I was
So
like, I
did
don't know
they-
if
That's
I'm
a
ready
tough
to.
decision.
Did they
Yeah.
offer you?
Yeah.
Did you get offered to go on that? How far
Yes,
did, oh,
it
girl.
was the Jimmy nominees. I believe it was sent out to all of us,
Yeah.
but a lot
That's
of
amazing.
people, because the Jimmys are connected with the Broadway League, and so a
Okay.
lot of those people are connected to Disney, ABC,
Sure.
those companies,
Okay.
and so
yeah,
they look at the Jimmy nominees as like a pool of talent that they can like
absolutely.
pull from every now and then. So they send out opportunities like High School Musical, the musical series. They sent out to my fellow nominees and I. We got to audition and things like that. We got to audition for New York, that's now happening
Oh,
on Broadway.
Okay.
And just like a bunch of opportunities open for us. And of course there were no's in that as well. And I had to take it easy on myself because it's like
Yeah.
this is a like pool of extremely talented
It's
people.
the best of the best.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there are going to be no's, and
Mhm.
I was okay with that because it was
Yeah.
something that I was learning to accept and grow
Yeah.
from.
Yeah.
And then
What a
I
great
went
experience
to
too,
yes.
just to go through the
Yes.
process.
Yes, and to
Yeah.
even have those people like hear your voice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like they know who you are now. And
Exactly.
so who knows
Uh-huh.
the next
Yeah.
project
Yeah.
they might need you.
Well, and we've learned that, right,
Mhm.
from the people that we've
Yeah.
already
Yeah.
talked to, is that, they may have gotten 40 no's or whatever it is, but then they call you up and they're like, hey, remember I saw you, and you're thinking, oh my God, you remember who I am?
Yes.
But I want you for a different project,
Mhm.
And so it's so important because you're
Yes.
getting yourself
Well,
out
and
there.
the kind of the crazy thing,
It's awesome.
the more we talk to people, the more you realize like everybody knows everybody, and it's because the industry feels big, but it's not big, and then making those connections
Yeah.
matters. 10 years down the road or 15 years down the road,
Yes.
something you made that connection on at the Jimmys,
Right.
They're going to be like, oh, we
Maybe
remember
you're-
you. You're Janiyah McAllister.
your way in.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
There are a lot
It's
of
true. Oh, that's so exciting for you.
yes. And
Okay.
they still like send out opportunities to audition for different things in development. And yeah, it's pretty
That's pretty
cool.
cool,
It
yeah.
feels like VIP almost. It's like, oh my gosh, you guys
Yeah.
are asking us to audition?
Right, because
So
most people are out pounding the pavement just trying to get in the door. And
Yes.
Yes.
that's really neat.
yes,
Yeah.
and it's when like really, well-known casting companies like Bernie Telsley, his casting agencies, and pretty cool people.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it seems like just saying yes to all those things just to get your face
Mhm.
out there, knowing that you're probably getting a lot of no's, but
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
and it may
getting
not
that
even be something
exposure.
that you're 100%
Right.
interested in.
Yes.
Like you had talked about having to go to Albuquerque, but it's still good to go through the process.
Yes.
is Broadway your end goal?
No, I've always been one that I like to see new things. I like to travel. And so Broadway is fun, and I've talked to people about the lifestyle, and they say it's
Mhm.
very it's very there. It's very New York.
Yeah.
And you have to be there. You have to know how to manage like your health especially and your lifestyle because you're in New York, you're performing like 2 show days,
Yeah.
8 times a week. and it can be a lot on the person and the performer.
Mental health too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so my end goal is to travel. I want to tour like on regional touring companies, and maybe even internationally do a show like outside of the country. Like, they have Hamilton like in Puerto Rico, UK, things
Really
like that.
super in Hamilton.
I would
That's
love
like so your job. Yeah.
I would love to do a show outside of the country, and
Mhm.
that's really what I want to do. I want to travel. I want to see new things.
Yeah, take advantage of it.
Oh, yes.
Well, and right now you're in Pippin at the Straz.
Yes.
Oh, so tell us about that.
Yeah.
Yes, that was also a really interesting experience. That was another one of those like invitation things. So everyone or most people who were nominated for a leading performer got the opportunity to and the invitation to audition for Pippin. And so Pippin has always been one of those shows that like I really wanted to be in, and leading player has always been a dream role of mine. And I wasn't sure if I should audition because I know the casting table for Pippin was pretty closely related to Broadway Star the Future's judging panel. So I didn't know like, if I audition for this, can I not go to the Jimmys and stuff like that? But I said,
Oh yeah.
well, I've already had the Jimmys experience. And so I was content with not going to the Jimmys this year. And being able to do a show this summer before I go off to college was something that I wanted to do. And so I auditioned, didn't know what to expect. I almost didn't audition. The afternoon of, I said, I don't know if I can audition because I want to work this summer.
Okay.
But my manager texted me. She said, we can work it out because I had to. I joke around with my family. I tell them I had to quit my day job to perform on Broadway. I quit my job because I had to leave for like 2 weeks, and then I had to go to New York for the Jimmys, and so that happened. But my manager is super understanding. They're always open arms. They tell me anytime you have time, we're willing to have you
You're
back.
probably a fabulous employee.
Yeah.
That's probably why. Yeah.
I love my job. I love my managers, and so they're really understanding. And same thing with Pippin. They said if this is what you want to do, they know that I'm really serious about it. I'm not just like playing around. And they said just come back to us when you're ready. And so I emailed her immediately the same day. I said, okay, my manager said it's fine. I'll be there. And I auditioned. Broadway Star the Future happened, so I was just in a full week of suspense. Didn't know about the Jimmys, didn't know about Pippin, so I just said, I'm just gonna have fun and just do what I need to do. And then the day after Broadway Star the Future, I got the call. Said, we'd like to invite you to Pippin as the leading player. What? And I screamed because the leading player, I've always wanted to play that role. Seeing Patina Miller and Ben Vereen in the previous Broadway cast was just so cool. Seeing the original Pippin, and
we're gonna have to come see her.
Oh yeah. I already got it on my calendar.
Okay, good.
It's a Nemo weekend, so there's only
it?
one night we can see it, the Thursday.
Okay, well we'll just get tickets.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
coming.
we'll be there.
Yeah, we're coming.
yes,
Absolutely.
So it's another
And
dream
our girls
role.
are gonna be so excited
Oh,
to
yeah.
see you.
Oh yes, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
But it's cool to work in another environment, and like I was talking to you about earlier, we only have 2.5 weeks to put the show together.
Wow.
Fucking crazy.
Yes,
That's
we
cool.
start.
Wow.
Yes, so this week I got my script earlier last week, and so this week I'm memorizing, getting in the mindset, getting in character, learning, doing my research, dramaturgy things like that. And then next week it's time to roll into the rehearsal process. We
Are they full days? Like they
Yes.
at least have that for you. 2
Yes.
weeks, but
We have pretty
You get
full
more
days,
time.
9 to 4. And so, yeah, we're getting ready to put the show together. I'm really excited.
Is it through Patel Conservatory or is it?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And so, yes, working with new people. I haven't worked with I did shows at Theater Winter Haven, but this is my first time working in a completely new environment with no familiar faces, no one from Harrison, no one from Theater Winter Haven. So that's going to be really fun too, and just establishing those connections as well.
Yeah, gotcha.
is it a paid gig or or like you're volunteering your time at community theater, kind of that?
Well, it's kind of like it's a little bit of both.
it?
Yes, because they sent me on full scholarship, and
Okay.
so I have that opportunity as well. But yes, it's
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome. And what a
Yeah.
great thing for your resume, because are they
Yes.
considered a regional? Is it a regional theater or no, because it's Patel? I'm not sure
I'm
how
not
that
exactly
works.
sure how I would put
Okay.
it on my resume.
And you can just
not
ask
quite
them.
sure,
They'll tell
yeah.
you.
Oh yeah, I'm
Tell
sure
you.
they'll tell you.
Yeah, because that's great.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you, in the process of all this, you've won a few scholarships.
Yes, the scholarships have been so crazy recently. I've just been so blessed because a lot of these things I applied for in December, January, February, and I'm just now hearing about. And so I had lost hope. I was like, oh, okay, well,
Yeah, guess I didn't get that one.
Yeah.
Guess I'm working again this weekend.
Yes. Like I never stop applying. And so hearing back from those scholarships has been really cool and a great help, of course. So like my college is practically paid for, but
Nice.
That's amazing.
That's
still,
awesome.
yes. So we have a full ride without a full ride, which is great. And so I'm still applying though to just have, like I said, backup. You never
Yeah.
know, and things like that. So
Well,
Why
because
you
the
should-
cost of books, the cost
Right,
of supplies,
yes.
the cost of living,
yes,
you gotta cover that too.
Mhm.
You need to like have a camp for
Yeah,
like, just,
so
this is how you do life, kids, because they won't listen to us. But
Oh,
no,
you're
they
so
won't.
grounded and
Yeah.
just-
and so
on top of
mature
it,
and so
yeah.
articulate and like
Thank you.
focused, and you are not the typical
No, you're not
high
typical.
school graduate in
Oh
any
my
way, shape, or
gosh.
form.
No,
No,
it's you know,
It's
we've
fabulous.
been fortunate to have some guests on that are just like you,
Mhm.
but honestly, the percentage has got to be like less than 1% of the people out there that are going for this stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, or going through school even. Like,
Yeah.
I love my children, but they are not this prepared.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm hoping that there's a shift.
Awesome.
We've still got time. But
Right.
thank you.
It's gonna happen.
But yeah, like how
Thank
organized
you.
you are, how focused you are.
it's so funny that you guys say that because it's my maturity and responsibility is still something that I'm working on.
Same.
That's
Like,
the whole point.
same.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
the fact that you even know
Yeah,
that
you're
about
aware
yourself.
now.
Yes, like I have
You
my
know?
moments like I pack for vacations and I like forget my toothbrush and like I like just
Yeah.
like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yes, it's definitely a learning process and I'm still growing into how I present myself in different environments. Like I am like this, but like at school, of course, like when I'm around my friends, I'm kind of crazy. Like even my teachers will tell you like Janiyah is a klutz. Like she's always I'm always joking
I love
around.
it.
I'm always like doing like silly stuff. Like I'm like I act pretty stupidly when I'm like around my friends and stuff like that. But of course I know how to separate it. I know when to present myself
Mhm.
differently. I know when to, bring back that maturity
Yeah.
and, not be just like 17-year-old teenager Janiyah, but like professional 17-year-old
Mhm.
Yes.
teenager Janiyah.
Right.
So
Yes.
Well,
Well,
you're
that's
nailing
huge.
it. So
Yeah, it's half the battle, Oh,
yeah. So you said
it's great stuff.
you've mentioned a couple of your dream roles. What's something else you hope to play in the future?
Well, I really want to be in Lion King again. I would love to play Nala in Lion King.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I'm still working on, I haven't had any real like dance experiences outside of Harrison. So I would love to grow in that area and hopefully grow into dancing roles. I would love to be in a production of Chorus Line. Chorus Line is my favorite show ever. And I would love to be in a Chorus Line. And yeah, those are the first ones. Oh, and T Moon in Once on This Island. I did Once on This Island at Theater Winter Haven my junior year. I was Erzuli, one of the goddesses. But I would love to play T Moon one day. And yeah, those are just a couple of my dream roles.
I see you doing like some Hades Town.
Ooh.
Oh my
like-
gosh.
Oh.
I don't know why I did not even think of that. Hades Town is one of my favorite
Oh, we love
musicals.
Hades
I do.
Town.
Yes.
Just
Yeah, so good.
I would love to play any of
taking
those.
that train.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know?
Yes.
Just to be on that stage.
Yes.
That music.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Did you get
No,
to see a
it's good
show
stuff.
when you were at the Jimmy's?
Yes, we saw Moulin Rouge.
Oh yeah.
Was that
fun.
not fabulous?
It was
Mm.
absolutely amazing, and we got to talk with the cast afterwards
Oh.
about their.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
I know, right?
it was so cool, and hearing again like about their experiences performing on Broadway, and most of them are young adults as well, like in
Yeah.
their 20s, 30s, and it was really cool. Like I said, I learned so much from
Mm.
the Jimmys, and it was such a personal experience too. with everyone that they allowed you to talk to and ask questions. They were very open to allowing us to get that knowledge ourselves and things like that.
That's great. I love to hear that, especially in different professions where people that have been doing it for a while are supportive of newcomers, because it's very common where, you know, you end up eating your young, right?
Yes.
It happens, you know?
Yes.
And it's just so nice to hear that you had a good, positive experience, and it's so open and welcoming, and,
yes,
you know?
And it all ties back to, I think, because we are performers to a certain extent, but they also kept in mind that, like, we're children. Like, for me, it was like my first time in New York, my first time on a flight. It was like a bunch of firsts to the Jimmys. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm like this little like baby in New York about to perform on Broadway. And they were just so nurturing and so sweet. And especially like COVID was still a huge factor of the process at that time. So they were always making sure we were safe, we felt protected, and things like that. And it was a really great environment to be in as a performer, I think.
Yay. Oh, I love that. Your parents must be so proud.
Oh, yeah.
We're proud. We feel like
we are. Yeah, we are.
Now.
Absolutely.
What advice would you give kids working toward just being better at musical theater?
I would just say to never forget that you're growing as a person, and that it's important to allow your mind to grow in that as well, and to learn. Never stop wanting to learn and better yourself, better your craft, because, you know, the heights are, you know, never ending. Like, there are just so many opportunities out there, so many different paths to go. And once you stop yourself and saying that I can't do this anymore, I can't get good at this, then you create that boundary where you can't move past and grow. You can't go anywhere past that. And that's why I feel like it's so important to always, and even, I don't know, like me taking so many dual enrollment classes, like I'm just interested in so many things. And so I like learning, and I think just learning is a key to everything, being willing to grow.
Yeah, and put the time into it.
It's true.
It takes people that are successful, they're taking a lot of time outside of classes or school, those type of things.
Yes, and you have to give yourself some grace. Because even sometimes I'm still very like hard on myself about, like, you know, not booking things or not getting this grade on this and things like that. But it's over. It's done with. I learned from it and I move on.
And you're moving on. And there might be something bigger and better out there, you know?
Yes.
Oh, Janiyah, I feel like regardless of whichever path you choose, whatever, you're going to be successful.
Yeah.
Because you just have your head on straight, and you're going to tackle this world. And we are lucky enough because we're going to get to
we get to watch
get on
that
that journey with you. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we've already been journeying with you this year. We've been kind of, you know, stalking you from
the stalking.
Yeah, we are. Yeah,
my mom still remembers you guys from the showcase we did at Theater Renee Haven, from the introduction. She was like, oh my gosh, those are the sweet ladies who gave you the introduction to the showcase. I'm like, yes, Mom, those are the drama mamas. And she's like, oh, they're just so sweet. I'm like,
gosh, that's hilarious.
So,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. That was a great showcase. We had so much fun. We had something going on.
Yeah, it was Smyrna.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
you guys hold a special place in my family's heart.
Oh, good.
Good. Because, you know, I mean, you're right there with us. So, absolutely, you know. Oh, yeah. I bet your mom would have so much good advice.
Yeah.
To
oh my gosh. I've learned I would not be anything without her. And my grandmother are like the biggest two like figures in my life who have really
strong women.
Yes. Who have really led me to where I need to be, and who have kept my head on straight for me, because I have definitely not always been like this. Like, they have been the ones who have they're always getting me back up when I fall and things like that. And I don't know.
If there was something that, like, because, you know, I think we have a pretty diverse audience. We have kids that listen, but we also have parents that listen. And then not parents as well. But, like, if you were trying, I think our audience intended, don't stop listening.
If you don't fall in this category,
parents, like, to try and just pass along anything that we could learn and any advice that we could get. to those parents who are like us, just fumbling our way through because we weren't in the theater when we were kids. Like, we don't know this. We're learning it in real time with our children.
Yes.
So, like, if there's something that your parents did, or maybe you've seen other parents do, like, what would be the big advice that you would say to us?
To parents,
Yeah.
Great question.
I would say, because sometimes as adults, or like whenever you are older, and I see myself doing this in environments sometimes where I'm the oldest one, I feel that I don't really need to listen to people who are younger than me because I've already had this experience, or I already know what you like think you're about to tell me. But one thing my mom has showcased me is the opportunity to listen to me. She's always asking me questions about my experiences and always willing to have an open ear to how I feel about certain environments, what I want to do. She's never, ever shut down any of my goals. Or at first it was like, oh, are you sure like musical theater is safe? Like, are you sure this is a safe route? But after I showed how strongly passionate I was about what I wanted to do, she went along with it. And it's just having that trust in your children, being willing to listen, have an open ear, learning never stops.
Yeah.
And I think that's a universal truth that applies to anyone of any age. And that's something that my mom has demonstrated that I feel has allowed us both to grow in our relationship as mother and daughter, as I've grown into an adult and as a performer, and her being a mother in theater, which she was new to as well.
Yeah.
And now she took me to New York to watch MJ, and now she's showing me videos of, wow, look at this production of this, and I'm like, look at you, you know. So it's been really, really cool seeing her grow into it and grow a liking for theater.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's awesome advice.
Yeah,
You know,
it really is.
awesome advice. Because a lot of the people we've had, you know, they've been kind of independent and they've kind of been on this track. And not that they haven't had parental support, because I think everybody we've talked to has had that. It's been a key thing. But the parents have just kind of let them kind of drive the boat, you know, at like whatever, full steam ahead, or maybe they want to take a step back, you know, however that was going. And I think that's a big advantage, right? Is to always kind of be there for them, but let them kind of decide how quickly they want to do it. Or
well,
you know.
It's a balance, though. I feel like, you know, there's plenty of stuff that we talk through any hesitations in our house. That's kind of the hard thing, because like it's like, okay, well, so you don't want to do it, let's talk about why you don't want to do that thing. Is it like a self-image problem? Do you think you're not worthy of that? Or are you afraid of something? Like, why do you not want to do it? And a lot of times we'll talk through that, and it helps us be okay with it, that decision. Or it helps her, like Pinky especially, we do this with for the shows. Because it was like she didn't want to audition initially for Demo over the summer. And I was like, why do you not want to do that? She's like, well, I really want to have a summer before Harrison and, you know, kind of have that time to prepare because Harrison's going to be so intense. You know, that kind of thing. And I was like, okay, but you're still going to get, you know, 2 months of that. Do you not want to have one last show with your friends? Because good chance it's going to be a while before you have time to do it. You know, and then it was this back and forth and talking about it. She was like, yeah, I think you're right. I think I'll audition, and then, you know, I'll be good with it if I get in or don't get in.
Just having conversations. And being willing to like listen to one another. And even myself, sometimes I tend to like shut out my mom, and I'm like, I don't want to like necessarily hear what she's saying because it doesn't exactly align with what I vision or what I thought. You already know what
she's going to say.
And so it's like, Mom, you don't understand, you don't get it, but like she does, because in the end, like, she's my mother, you know, she is the adult and she understands. And again, like, we have conversations, and most of the time it revolves around me saying no to certain things because, you know, opportunities are always coming in, offers are always coming in. And, you know, one thing she always expresses to me is that you don't always have to say yes. And me being the people pleaser that I am, I don't want to say no to people. Like, if they want me to come perform, I want to go perform for them, you know? And so those are what a lot of our conversations based around is, Janiyah, you have to be okay with saying no for this reason. And
that's a huge thing in life. There's a lot of adults that can't do that.
And
you know?
and like not even to like performances or like anything theater related, just like in life, just being able to decline, move on, and
have some boundaries.
Right.
It's huge. You know,
I hope that's
good. And just know that your mom's been through it all. May
Right.
not have been musical theater, but
Right.
she's
Right.
been through it.
Absolutely.
So she gets it, you know.
Yes.
She's gonna miss you. When
Oh,
are you
yeah.
leaving?
She is.
for
I'm leaving
school?
in August.
Oh my
So
gosh.
we're enjoying these 2 months this summer.
Yeah.
My birthday is
Yeah.
next month. My birthday is actually, I have a show, Pippin, a show of Pippin on my birthday, but we're celebrating that weekend.
Mhm.
Oh, that'll
And-
be fun. Oh, do you have any
Yes.
siblings?
No, I'm an only child, thank God.
Oh,
I love being an only child. I talk about it. I talk about it so much with my friends because I just feel like I don't know. That's why I commend all the moms who have multiple children in theater so much because it's so
Oh.
much. Like I always tell my mom, I cannot imagine if I had a twin, or if I had another sibling that was
Yeah.
like, Mom, I want to do theater. Good luck, because like it's a lot. It's a
It's a
lot.
lot
Yeah.
harder when they're not doing the same thing,
Yeah.
though.
That's
Yeah.
true.
there's a lot of divide and conquer in our house.
Yes.
You know.
I know, and it's hard that I keep reminding myself as I'm making the 5th trip to the theater and back for the day. Like,
Yeah.
I only get to do this for a few more years.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
it may
That's the
stink
big
in the
thing.
moment, but enjoy those rides in the
Yeah.
car because then you're going to go off to college and
I know.
Yeah.
you're sitting around going, what do I do with myself all day?
Yeah.
I know.
Yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
When we're
That's
here
when you
with
start doing the
Michaela,
theater.
You get 2 more with Stella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Live
So,
with Lily Kate.
Yeah, you still got some time there. Same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It
it's
comes
tough
really
to fly.
Yes,
Yeah,
it like
does.
I still have moments where I'm thinking, I'm like moving out of the state in like 2 months. And I was talking to my mom yesterday because I'm always singing around the house. I don't like to admit it, but I sing all the time around the house. I'm so loud.
We have kids
And-
like that.
Yeah, we do.
We understand.
Yeah, we do.
And my
We feel
mom
your mom's
All the
pain.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'll hear my mom from the kitchen. She's like, Janiyah, please. And I'm like, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone.
That's
You're gonna
right.
miss a quiet house. And she's like, oh no, I'm not. And then I see her and she's like, yes, I am.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
She is.
She
She's
is.
dying inside
Yes,
right now.
she
Just know
is.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, a second later, she's always like, okay, fine, you can keep singing. I'm like, I know, thank you.
You're gonna catch her recording you.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
We had one of
Hanging
those
on loop.
moments last night. We were listening to like 90s
Uh huh.
pop songs or whatever, and Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? I don't know if you remember that song. You probably don't know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, it was playing, I guess, pretty close to when we got home, so that it's now the earwig or whatever. And so Parvati's like dancing around the house. It's like 10:30 at night,
Oh my
11 o'clock
gosh.
at night. And she's like, "Where have all the cowboys gone?" She's so dramatic. Sing, sing, sing. And I'm like, "Oh my God,
Go to
stop.
bed.
I want to go to bed."
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes, that is exactly what my mom was like.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We always know when Gabby's in the shower. Not
Yeah, oh,
because
yeah.
you hear water, but because you're like, where? Ah, that's right. I did ask her to get in the shower about 15 minutes ago. That's when she was
That's when
in
they're
the best.
singing.
Echoing is
Yes.
Lily Kate's favorite.
It's
yeah.
the best.
The best
acoustics.
concert space.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good
Yeah,
way to
In the
put it.
shower,
And I
in front of
have
the mirror.
recorded her. I'll stand outside the door and I'll be like, I'm just recording it. You know, I keep those
We
things.
do that when Pinky has Zoom voice lessons with
Mhm.
Jordan. We'll stand outside because she
Oh.
never sings in front of us.
Ah,
Like, not like full on singing.
yeah.
Little shit like last night, but that's not the same.
Yeah.
So we'll stand with the voice memo app,
Yeah.
open at the door,
Yeah. She's
Try-
like, can we sing her? Yeah.
Yes.
So you can catch it.
Or Jordan, she sneaky records stuff
Yeah.
and sends it to us. That's always fun.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
fun.
She's our inside hookup.
Yeah.
All right,
good
how are we
stuff.
looking on time?
We're like a little over an hour.
Okay.
All right. That's
Can I
perfect.
do just a couple quick shout outs before we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do it. Let's try
So
that.
I think, have you worked with Tommy? I feel like you have. Tommy Walford?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he and Corey, so two of our former guests, were on the Kelly Clarkson show.
Oh, I know. Kelly Clarkson.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, they
That
were.
is so cool.
He
So
is
cool.
a talented hustler.
Yeah.
That man, I'm not going to call him a boy because he's not a boy anymore. But he
No, they
is
grow
like-
up. You eventually
They
gotta
do.
Yes.
make
They
the
do.
transition.
He is
Yes.
so focused
Oh
on
my
gosh.
what he
Talk
he
about
goes
focus.
after
Uh-huh.
everything.
Yeah.
Yes. He
Yeah,
is
well, they got a
another
chance to talk about the Theater Gap Initiative that Corey
Yes.
runs, which is super cool. So that was really neat.
Yeah.
And I've heard that he has sold the rights to Malcolm X. I haven't confirmed it, but JJ told me, who was just in Malcolm X at the Straz.
Mm-hmm.
So
So they sold the rights. Is it like going somewhere?
Yes.
I don't know the details.
Okay.
I tried to Google it. And
I heard that it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't
Alright,
know
Tommy.
exactly
Too, but I don't
where.
wanna-
Well, no, but I don't know exactly where.
Tommy needs to like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us.
update us. So,
Yes.
yay.
Yes.
Send
That's
us a
just,
message.
that is just the start of many, many great things for him.
Yes.
Yes.
JJ from episode 6, he graduated high school. Congratulations,
Woohoo!
JJ.
Yay,
JJ.
He's off to great
Love
things as
JJ.
well.
Yes.
And then Hannah, who just recently interviewed in episode 25, she had a birthday. She graduated from Elon.
Oh my gosh.
And she moved to New York and is starting Back to the Future. There were some cast
Yeah.
photos on something I saw last night, and there she was in the front, all smiling.
That is
Yes.
so
Good,
cool.
Hannah.
Nice.
Yeah.
She's a great person.
Oh my
We
god.
Yeah.
loved
Oh,
working
man,
with
she's
her,
wonderful.
and yeah. Great
And
story.
then just, as juniors, this is that time of year where you're getting ready to start what you just have been through, the
Yeah.
audition for
Yes.
musical theater. So just a reminder that episode 17, we had Stephen West on from College Audition Coach. He,
Mhm.
some great advice from there. Episode 6 was College Audition Pros with Drew. They both specialize
Both
in
of
this,
them.
so they can really help. And then also
Yeah.
just Kat in episode 5 as a parent going through the process.
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
stuff with
Yeah.
Autumn.
So
She didn't do 20 schools, but they were pretty
it was
close to that.
close. It was
Yes, I
close.
think she did a pretty
Yeah.
And she's
good
headed up
number,
to New
so-
York.
Yeah.
now.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
gonna
just
be-
Yeah.
some good resources as you're preparing to
Yep.
step into that pool of auditioning.
Probably worth mentioning that I don't know if we're going to get another recording before everybody goes on vacation for this summer. Something just flew in my ear. So I guess we have a season, and this might be the last episode of the season. So catch us as we start in August with season 2 of the Drama Mamas podcast.
Yes.
I think we're going to kick
That's
it
so
off
cool.
with special guest Bo
Yeah.
Bailey.
Great way
Yeah.
to end this season.
Yeah.
Great way to
I
start
know.
the next
It really is. We're very excited to have him lined
That's
up.
so cool.
Yeah.
We've got a couple other guests. I've got a whole little list on my desk
Mhm.
to start getting the calendar ready to roll with those guests. But yeah, I think we're going to
we
kick
got a
off
busy
with Bo.
season.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of fun things to do in the area. So we got Margaritaville that's coming on
Yeah.
in June, right?
I'm
At
SM.
theater. Yep.
Yeah.
At Lakeland
Yeah.
Community Theater.
Yeah.
Come out to see that. We got Theater Winter Haven is doing
Hairspray.
Hairspray, so that's good.
Yeah.
So
Autumn.
go
Go
see
see
Autumn
Autumn.
in that.
Yeah.
Yep. She's Tracy, so
Got
that's going to be
Pippin
And then
over at
fantastic.
Pippin.
Straz.
And we got Pippin
Yay.
at the Straz. And the Straz has an amazing lineup.
Oh my
we
gosh,
were just
their
talking
lineup
Oh
about
my
next
gosh,
that.
year.
that next
Oh,
season.
Yeah.
yes.
Oh yes, it's amazing. And so does Orlando. They kind of almost mirror
Yeah.
each other. So
Mhm.
Quite a few.
great opportunities for musical theater
Yes.
here in Central Florida. So
And
it's
summer
exciting.
camps and
Yes,
Yeah.
summer camps.
it's going to be a busy summer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
Yes.
coming on.
Of
Thank
course.
you.
to have
I'm
you
so
on.
this is so
We're so
fun.
excited for you. We can't wait to just
Yeah,
follow
just
all the
watch.
fun that you're going to have up
Thank
there and all
you.
the things you're going to
Yeah,
learn.
we will continue to stalk you.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
In a
I'm
good
okay
way.
with it.
And if you ever need anything,
Yes.
feel free to reach out.
Yeah.
We are here for you. We are, if you're like, oh my God, please send me something. I need a care package. I need something.
Kathy's
Yeah.
really good with the care package.
I am.
Yes,
I will
yes.
be right on there.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
god.
So whatever, we are
Yeah.
here to help support you. So
Thank you. I appreciate you
Yeah.
guys so much. I've always wanted to come on the show. Ever since you guys started this, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be on that so bad. So it's like another dream come true.
Oh,
You guys are just making my summer the best it could be before I go off to
Oh my
college.
gosh,
So
that's so sweet.
yeah.
another one off the bucket list.
Well, we're going to have you back because you got
Oh,
good
for
things
sure.
in your future. We're going to be like,
Yeah.
tell us about
Before
it.
you do your
Yeah.
next show.
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of, do you know what they're doing next year at
At
Lost in it,
Baldwin,
Baldwin, sorry.
they are
Yeah.
actually doing Pippin.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
well, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yes.
you get to reprise your role.
Maybe. But I'm also looking to get some more ensemble experience
Mhm.
Yeah.
under my belt, which I guess is a blessing to say. I haven't really had many opportunities
Yeah.
being in the ensemble.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that going
Okay.
into college. So,
Good.
but yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah. And pack lots of warm things.
Oh,
to
yeah.
Yes,
Ohio.
Ohio.
Well, and my brother went to Kent State, and he said the hardest thing for him, being a Florida person, was it's gray for 4 months. There's no
Yeah.
sun. So,
That's
Oh.
so crazy.
yeah, just find a way to keep yourself, mentally.
Busy.
Take some vitamin D supplements.
Yeah.
Yes. That's
Put-
insane.
Yeah.
Beach things on your desktop or something.
Yes.
He
Yes.
really struggled with that. I said people get depressed. That seasonal depression is a real thing because
Yeah.
it's just gray.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ohio's kind of like that, but
Yeah.
that's okay. We have family up in Ohio, and
I have
it's
a lot
all
of friends
good.
in
It's a great
Ohio
thing.
that I used to work with out at SeaWorld.
Yeah.
They love it up there.
Yeah.
As soon as they could be done here, they went back
They
up
went
to
back
SeaWorld,
up.
Ohio. Yeah.
They have that huge. What's the big amusement park up there?
Oh, I know what you're
You know what I'm
talking
talking about. I asked
Because
like
there's some roller coaster that Stella wants to do there.
Yes.
I'm like, we're not going to Ohio, so you can.
Is
have
it
the
like
roller
a Six
coaster.
Flags? What is it?
I'm
No.
googling it because that's just what we need in our life
just
right now.
You know, random squirrel. We haven't squirred the whole episode, so you're
No,
allowed
we've
to
been
do
doing
this.
good.
We stayed on topic.
We had a little drama mama get together, and Jordan and Laura and Tyler Campbell all came and hang out with us.
Oh.
And
Cedar Point.
we had squirrel after squirrel after squirrel in that Cedar Park.
Point.
Point.
Cedar Point.
Cedar Point. Okay.
And I don't know where that is in relation to outside Cleveland.
Not that you're going to have time for amusement parks. But, you know.
Yeah, Ohio's a big state.
Ohio is a
True.
large state.
I did not
Yeah.
think that when I first was
think
looking
it's-
into it, but
Closer maybe to Cincinnati. I don't know.
Are you taking your car up?
no. My family is driving me up, and then
We did that my first year. I didn't have a car.
I don't think I could have a
Yes.
car my first year. I don't think
Yes.
they allowed us.
I
Of course,
think
that was like
Really?
yeah, that was like 30 years ago. So
some of my
It's the
classmates are
chicks,
bringing their
but
cars.
yeah.
I really want a bike.
Yeah,
I want a bike.
I
so
wouldn't
bad.
want to
Get
drive
an
in the
e-bike.
snow.
Yes.
So you can be lazy if you want.
Right. You got a lot of
Michaela
books
rides
to
hers
carry.
like a motorcycle. She's decided she wants a motorcycle now, and I'm like, hell no, hell to the no.
Although I did see something funny yesterday.
she's
It was a
brave in
granny,
her little ears.
a granny on this big, huge three-wheeled motorcycle
Yeah.
with her
that's right.
dog strapped in the back, like a little
Nice.
tiny, like Yorkie.
Oh.
But did he have
But
doggles
she
on?
was like 90.
Did you say doggles?
Yeah.
Yeah, they make goggles.
They're called doggles.
Dog goggles? Doggles?
Yeah, they're called
Oh my
goggles.
gosh.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a
No.
first.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't have thought that's what they would be called either.
Yeah. No, they do. We got them for our first dog when we got married. She's passed away now. But yeah, she had a pair of doggles. PJ insisted on putting those things on her. She hated them. But she was such a good dog. She would just wear them. And it was hysterical to
Were
just
you like
see her.
going high speed somewhere? Or you just wanted the dog to wear goggles?
I think PJ just liked the idea of it. 'Cause, you
Poor
know.
dog.
Put the goggles on and put them in the car.
Yeah, roll the window down. She'd stick her head out the window, and you know it wouldn't like dry out their
Oh.
eyes, or like it protects their eyes. You know,
That's hilarious.
I don't
love
know.
dogs.
Yeah, you know.
We can't put the windows down in our car.
Will they
Milo
jump
would-
out?
Yeah, I think Milo would leave us. I think he would jump out and go for the ducks, the birds, whatever is out there. He is bird fanatic.
Oh my gosh.
You just say bird, and he's like at the window, like, where? Where is it? One time, we used to take the dogs. Here's another squirrel episode.
No, I like it.
Okay, so we
We've
used to
done
take the
anyway,
dogs. And in case I decide to cut this off, bye.
Bye.
Yeah. See you
But
next time.
so we would take the dogs. There was an empty field next to our house development, and so we would take Milo over there and like throw the ball, and he would run after it, and he would always come back with the ball. But one day I think there must have been 1,000 cattle egrets out there, like the little white birds.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? He really just wants to go see him. Like there's lots of area to run. It won't be a problem to get him back because he comes back on a recall usually. So we let him go, and he's like,
Living his best life.
he really is. He's running for miles, just running back and forth through this giant flock of cattle egrets. And he'd run through them trying to get them, and they'd just fly up and fly down. And he's running through, so you could always tell where he was because the birds were up. Yeah. And I think he ran until he just literally couldn't move anymore. And he just collapsed in the field, and we had to go out there, way the fuck out there, put the leash on him and try to coax him back home. Chris had to carry him out of the field.
Oh my God.
He was like, run
he still
himself
dreams
dead.
about that. Whenever he's doing this in his dreams, he's
No
thinking of that
doubt.
day.
Those
No
damn
doubt.
birds.
But every time he sees those birds, especially the white birds,
Yeah.
like he loses his shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I
Poor
remember
Milo.
That's
when
funny.
Poor Milo.
chasing that high.
I know.
I know. And then he was gone for like a couple days.
No, that was Bean.
Oh, that was Bean. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that was Bean.
We have 2 border collies. Yeah, Bean got loose.
Poor Beano.
Yeah, poor Beanie.
Yeah.
Beanie
We're
weenie.
still not quite sure what he encountered during his journey.
He was gone for like 2 days when he ran off.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, it was really, really rough.
Yeah.
But we found him in the next neighborhood over,
That was like
where the
this
field
time
used to
last year.
be. Yeah. Yeah, it was right before we moved,
Mhm.
before we sold the house and moved
Yeah.
to Meriton. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
we got him back.
Mm.
He's a changed dog though.
Oh.
But we won't put the windows down in the car because of Milo.
Right.
being with
Because
me.
Milo's so, yeah.
He doesn't like to go in the car
He's too
anyway.
busy
It's called
puking.
post-traumatic.
Yeah.
It's like,
Every time we go in the car, he barfs.
Oh,
Poor guy.
Yeah. Look, car sickness is the thing.
It's
even
a
for
real
dogs.
thing.
it is a thing.
I
Real.
know.
It is a thing.
I've never been one to experience like. It's very odd, but like cars, I just like I don't know. I have a tendency to always fall asleep in my mom's car. Again, being like the only child, she has this huge
Got the whole
SUV.
back
Yes.
seat.
Yeah.
So she has like a 3-row car, and I just like it's like my room from the passenger seat back. Like I'm
It's your
always being
territory.
yes. And
That's
so
nice.
Yeah.
road trips are a blast.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so nice. You just bring your pillow and your
Right.
blanket.
Are you
Yeah.
taking any trips this summer? Or just working and performing and all
Probably yes. Probably just staying here home for the most part to
Yeah,
collect myself
that? Yeah.
before I go off. But
yeah.
So excited. College is
That'd
the
be good.
best. I would go
Where do
back
you
to
work
college
at?
in a heartbeat.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I work at Kiki's Breakfast Cafe.
Oh, nice.
We love Kiki's.
Yeah, so I'm a hostess there, and
Nice.
I love it. And also, like, of course, like the employees, we get to like eat after our shift, and so
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
So good.
It's a great
Good
perk.
food.
yes,
Yeah, it is.
so good.
It's like,
So,
I think I'll take some pancakes today.
right.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's nice. And I love that they're so, and from what you're saying, it sounds like they'll let you come back on break and pick up shifts and,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
so that's
Nice.
nice. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it there.
Good. It's good to have a job you like.
Yeah.
There's another life lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah, life is too short to do things you hate.
Right. And like
real.
some of my friends have jobs that are like, oh my gosh, I hate it here, but I'm only doing it for the money. And I'm just like so grateful that like Kiki's is like, I go there, I enjoy my time there,
Yeah.
and I can save up for college in the meanwhile.
Yeah, exactly. I love that your college is paid for. That's amazing.
I know that
Yes.
was. I was trying to find the price of the different colleges because I know some
Especially
of
being
them
a private
I know.
college.
80,000 a year.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
really
some of them are
exciting.
rough.
To not
That's
have
nice.
that burden.
Did that have a big influence as to where you wanted to go? Like where
How much it would
your
cost?
package? Yeah.
Somewhat. I had to decline PACE because I didn't receive enough financial aid from there.
Yeah.
But at my other schools, my top 3 choices were Carnegie, Howard, and Baldwin.
Okay.
And Carnegie was actually exponentially cheaper than Baldwin. But then I got, yes,
But you got-
surprisingly, because of the academic scholarships I had gotten there, because they're a very academic school. And so I ended up getting waitlisted. And so I went to Baldwin, where the academic scholarships still helped me out too. They had like a president's scholarship, and then the music grants,
Wow.
and then
they were
things
going to
like
make it
that.
happen.
Yes.
They were gonna, yeah.
Wow.
So
Which
Yeah,
is
that's great.
amazing. Yeah.
yes, they waited on me too, which I like really appreciated because
Yeah.
I was way like almost a month past
Well, I
the.
know you
Wow.
posted at one point. You're going to announce. I'm like, checking everywhere.
Yes.
Like, she hasn't announced yet.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was
it's
a
happening.
long time
Yeah.
past the deadline, but they were waiting. They said, "Whenever you're ready, we are here waiting for you." And I
That's
said,
great.
That's how you know it's your place.
"Right."
You know?